Hello, I'm Dr. Eduardo Choa, President of the California State University at Monterey Bay. It is my pleasure to welcome friends, families, supporters, faculty, staff, and graduates to this ceremony. Each of you have made an impact on the CSUMB graduates we celebrate, and we thank you for recognizing their achievements. CSUMB's founding vision calls for the development of a community where we all learn and teach one another in an atmosphere of mutual respect. At CSUMB, we have watched these graduates demonstrate this learning, teaching, and mutual respect through work with faculty inside and beyond the classroom, with service learning in our communities, and with staff through a variety of endeavors. CSUMB's graduates have cultivated a path of being independent thinkers with the ability to be innovative, curious, and persistent. A CSUMB degree is a testament to that work and initiative. Graduates, whether you are the first in your family to attend college or not, your achievement is your own. Never forget to dream big, bold, and boundless. As Nelson Mandela said, when you let your light shine, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we celebrate your accomplishments at CSUMB, we look forward to the bright futures for each of you. We look forward to your personal achievements and your ability to continue your work as valued leaders in our global society. Congratulations.
Congratulations, class of 2020. You have achieved a remarkable milestone, which is earning your college degree. This is something that not everyone can say they've achieved, so I hope you can relish in this moment. I know for a lot of you, this not only meant going to classes, doing the schoolwork, doing the lab work, but also having a job, committing to an internship, doing volunteer work, taking care of a family friend or loved one. A lot of juggling involved, and I realize that is a challenge. I remember being in a very similar position myself in college. So I hope that you can really take this moment to celebrate your achievements despite any struggles or challenges you've had along the way. So, hello, Cal State Monterey Bay. My name is James Zarsa-Diaz. I'm Assistant Professor of History, recently tenured, and Director of the Yuchengco Philippine Studies Program at the University of San Francisco. I was graciously asked by Professor Chantal Martinez and Elimir Arturo to deliver this year's Asian Pacific Islander celebration for the graduates of the class of 2020. Thank you for this invitation, and I'm truly honored to give this year's keynote. I also want to thank a few students. I want to thank in advance Kano Vong, Wendy Fang, and Val Ordonez for their time and efforts as well. I was charged with the responsibility of giving some advice to the graduates based on my experiences as an Asian American in the academy, but also as someone that took a very unconventional route as an Asian American. I, of course, wish that we could be celebrating in real life, but alas, welcome to my apartment. I hope you don't mind my, self-quarantine haircut. I had to do it myself. Looks all right. I miss my barber. Thank you for also forcing me to put actual clothes on, like a button up, as opposed to staying in a t-shirt and sweats like most days of the week that we've been under quarantine. I also want to approach this keynote in a very casual manner, as if we're having brunch, or if we're sitting down to have a couple of drinks, if you're over 21. I'm more of a wine person, so just throwing it out there. So I'm not going to be super formal. In fact, that's just not my style anyway. My family, friends, loved ones, my students know that for sure. And I hope that this kind of relaxed approach and some insights give you some food for thought. I want to share some things that I wish I knew or heard when I was a graduating student that might have helped me along the way, and something more tailored as an Asian American. And child of immigrants. So here are my thoughts. So I have about 4 things to share, some insights, some points I want to make. I know 4 is kind of a bad luck number, but we're going to reclaim that and make it good, okay? But a little bit of context first before we delve in. I am Filipino-Chinese. I am a son of immigrants from the Philippines who moved here in the 1970s. I identify as gay. My gender pronouns are he, him, his. And I grew up in a suburb called Walnut, California, which is not Walnut Creek, always mixed up those two. It's in the San Gabriel Valley of Los Angeles, the 626-909, if you know it. I'm sure some of you have been there or know it or have family or friends that are there. It is mostly known, I think, for having a very large Asian population, particularly for the suburbs. Boba cafes everywhere, Korean barbecue joints all over the place, infinite Chinese, Vietnamese dining options. It's basically paradise for food, especially. We have that here too, thankfully, right? Fremont and Daly City and so forth. So a little bit of background about where I am from. And my experiences are, I think, relatable because I can relate to yours. And over the years, I've thought about these things and I wanted to share with you some of these insights and again, give you some food for thought, or at least spark some conversations in your head or with friends. So first thing is this. There are many uncertainties in life. Even choices that you think are logical and sound and guaranteed are not, and involve some risk. So yeah, that's not surprising, right? Point is here, if there's always going to be risk, why not take a big one? So for example, when I was in high school, I loved politics. I still love politics. And I decided I want to build a career in U.S. politics. So I went to college in D.C., I moved away, and that was a big deal. That was a big risk. Like many of you, you moved away from home, and you moved to Cal State Monterey Bay. You had to start a whole new friendship circle, acclimate to a new community. I did the same thing. And for me, it was challenging because it was also on a different coast. Very different in terms of geography, in terms of demographics. But like many of you, it was a big challenge because I moved away from home. And particularly for children of immigrants, that's a big deal. Especially when your extended family network and your core group of support is often living close together. And to leave that was tremendous. Of course, I felt homesick. As much as I was very happy and loved living in DC, and I'm sure many of you have felt very similarly about where you are right now. And relatedly, the other risk I took was when I lived in DC as a college student. I also worked on Capitol Hill as a staffer for about 4 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. And during that time, I realized, as much as I gained a lot of experience, have no regrets, had a fantastic learned a lot of fantastic skills, I realized politics and policy are not for me. And I always thrived and loved U.S. history. Even since, I think, like 4th grade, I got like the best U.S. history student or something like that. So I nerd out on history. And I figured, if I'm really passionate and love this and I excel at it, why not make a career out of something that I'm good at, right? Or seemingly good at, right? And at the time, it was kind of shock to some of my family and friends. Politics was already surprising. It's already an unconventional route for an Asian American. But being a historian, being a history professor was even more seen as unusual and bold and risky. Luckily, I had the support of family and friends. But at the same time, I realized a lot of folks don't always have that support, right? And which relates to my second point, right? Connecting both points here. First is to, again, take a risk. But secondly is to do something that you love. Again, maybe not new advice, but when I hear this often from my students, which is this, right? Oh, I don't really want to be a pre-med major, or I don't really like biology, or I'm not good at math and science, or my parents want me to be a nursing major, or all of that. I don't want to be in STEM. Okay, But I love literature, I love history, I love ethnic studies, I love dance, I love art. What do I do? And, I realize a lot of you are STEM majors and you are thriving and fantastic at it. Wonderful, right? But for a lot of students who are Asian American, particularly children of immigrants, there's a lot of pressure to enter fields that are seemingly more economically viable, right, or sustainable, which I get. Your parents, your grandparents made a lot of sacrifices, especially if they're immigrants or refugees, and you want to make them proud, but also give them some sense of security that you are going to be secure. But at the same time, I don't think it's an either-or situation. You don't have to feel as though you have to give up altogether your personal and professional intellectual passions just to please your family and vice versa, right? They can't expect for you to give up all of those things either. So I want you to think about it like this, that you can pursue your own interests and desires without necessarily compromising altogether, right? That if you're thriving and you're investing in something that you care about, right, your family will come around. Your loved ones will come around. Because when you're thriving, they're thriving. And many of my friends, including myself, who have taken unconventional routes and are Asian American, we've seen that happen in our own personal experiences. And more often than not, that's going to be the case for you too. The third thing I want to note is this, right? You're often going to feel as though you're never enough. And I want to say you are. I hear this sometimes from students, and a few of you even mentioned this to me, about feeling, that imposter syndrome, right? I, for example, am in a profession that is not very diverse in terms of having a large LGBTQ population, in terms of having a large community of Asian American historians, particularly within the field of U.S. history itself. And so essentially, I want us to remember, I want all of us to remember that you are enough, that the reasons why you think about that you're not sharp or smart or intellectual enough, or you're not as savvy or have the right pedigree, we hear those things, we think of those things because we're in a society that conditions historically marginalized populations to feel that way, to think that way. Women, LGBTQs, people of color, working class people, immigrants. We need to combat that, right? That you are enough, that you know what you're doing, that you are an expert, right? It's something that I grapple with myself. As I mentioned, I'm an Asian American historian. I teach and write about, I'm working on a book right now about Asian Americans in Los Angeles. And then even myself, I think, why am I doing this, right? What's the end result here? But one of the reasons why I became a historian is this. When I was in college and in high school, loved history, still do, obviously, and I pick up a textbook, an article, and I always ask, where are the Asian Americans? Why are they invisible? And maybe we hear about them with the Chinese in the Gold Rush, the Transcontinental Railroad, Japanese American internment, Filipinos during the colonial period. But that's usually where it ends, right? We don't hear much about trends, phenomena, people that have impacted Asian Americans or just U.S. history as a whole. And it was that out of that own curiosity and frustration and actually anger, right, in a way, that pushed me and propelled me to go to graduate school and get my PhD in history. And even during that process, I felt, am I fit for this, right? In a field that is predominantly that does not have a large Asian American population, and in a field that acknowledges Asian Americans in history, but doesn't really put them to the center. And I figured, you know what? No, that's precisely the reason why I should be here and why others should be here. Is because it's our responsibility, it's our obligation to help excavate those stories and to tell them. Because no one's going to do that for us. We can't expect others to do that. So we have to do that ourselves, right? And it's in many ways not just out of cultural respect and interest, but also out of a political obligation. The last thing I want to do and related to that is to say this, to give back when you can. Everyone in this room, virtual room, has been helped by multiple people in our lives across years. Not just family, friends, and loved ones, but also people who played seemingly minor roles in your lives or supported you in not as visible or explicit ways, right? Like your coach or your counselor, your professors, the staff on campus, the librarian that helped you that one day in helping you find some piece of information. That person that slid into your DMs on Instagram that gave you that "you can do it" cheers when you had that emo post up or that story up. Give back when you can, because it's always a community effort. And a lot of us in this room, our identities are intersectional. So we will always have to give back as much as we can, as best as we can, in the means that are possible, right? And I see this in this particularly uncertain, problematic moment of COVID-19/coronavirus. We have seen an uptick in anti-Asianism across the United States, even in places that are considered open-minded bastions, like the Bay Area, like Southern California, New York, Chicago, and so forth. We've seen and heard stories of people being called all kinds of egregious and offensive things and violent acts. And it's our personal responsibility, if you identify as Asian American, even if you don't, as allies of people of color, to stop the racism, the discrimination, the nativism, the bigotry, and to always remember that history is not always this narrative of things always getting better over time. That's something I always remind my students, that we cannot subscribe to that idea, because as history has shown, sometimes things get really bad, if not a lot worse. And we have to be mindful of that, but also take action to educate ourselves and to educate others. So on that note, I want to end with a few more thoughts, which is this. In the years ahead, your life is going to be a process. Your intellectual growth is a process. Your professional development is a process. Your personal growth is a process. Be patient with yourselves. Be gentle. You can't expect change overnight as fast as we want things to change. It won't. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to regret things, but that's expected. You're going to think you're going to go this direction, and then you wind up going that direction. And sometimes it's actually for the best. So keep an open mind, keep an open heart, give back, stay in touch with the communities, remember where you come from, be true to yourself. So congratulations, class of 2020. Those of you who are not graduating and you're watching this, I hope this advice has been helpful for you as well. So thank you again, Cal State Monterey Bay. I am a proud product of a public K-12 education, so I always support public institutions like yours, and I am so honored again to be part of this celebration, to be sharing this moment with you, and thank you for your time. Congratulations to you and your loved ones, your families, your networks, your communities, and take care of yourself. Good luck with everything. Bye.
Patrick John Abadila, BS Business Administration Marketing. Hannah Alejo, BA Visual and Public Art, magna cum laude.
Elisha Barbara Ariola Vasquez, BA Psychology.
Jazz Kiart Jessica Bartywash, BS Business Administration Management and International Business. Alyssa Toshiko Bray, BS Mathematics. Brenda Elizabeth Kalara, BA Psychology.
Walan Chang, MS Environmental Science.
Ian Kyle Contreras, BS Business Administration Accounting.
Giancarla T. Dioncio, BA Environmental Studies. Darren C. Dizin, BS Business Administration. David Martin Espiritu, BS Computer Science. Michaela Feliciano, BS Social and Behavioral Sciences.
Quentin Allen Valayo Fernandez, BS Computer Science. Coco Arturo Leon Figueredo, BS Kinesiology, cum laude. Matthew Gabayan, BS Kinesiology. Liana Jasmine Kawialani Luna Gaspar, BS Marine Science, summa cum laude. Jessica Chris Guevara, BA Humanities and Communication, magna cum laude. Sandy Herr, BA Humanities and Communication. Marissa Ann Marie Hunter, BS Biology, summa cum laude. E. Farnella Jan, MS Instructional Sciences and Technology, MA in Organizational Leadership.
Zhanhui Jiang, BS Business.
Andy Kaur, BS Computer Science, summa cum laude. Raju Kumar, BS Computer Science.
Wafa Ali Mahdi, BA Human Development and Family Science.
Caesar Adam Manois, BS Business Administration Management.
Melissa Marie Manulet, BS Kinesiology.
Nicole Medina, BS Business Administration Marketing.
Julian Kenzo Nakanishi Rodriguez, BA Psychology.
Sithal Karan Nunn, BS Business Administration.
Kiera Rambonga, BS Marine Science, cum laude. Janet E. Roberts, BA Human Development and Family Science. Evangelina Edna Ryburn, BS Biology.
Saliula Salarzai, BS Computer Science. Wynyard Jonah Pastoran Saleh, BA Psychology. Anmol Sando, BA Cinematic Arts and Technology, magna cum laude. Renalyn May Lennon Serrano, BA Collaborative Health and Human Services.
Gina Marie Silva, BA Human Development and Family Science, cum laude.
Ryan J. Sparks, BA Collaborative Health and Human Services.
Junhang Su, BS Business Administration.
Jay Tao, BA Music. Noah Wanakfaji Tolentino Win, BS Computer Science, magna cum laude. Kresna Chan Tatris, Master of Business Administration. Chao Je Bao Tran, BA Social and Behavioral Sciences, Statistics.
Kate Ann Udani, BS Biology.
Selena Rosa Karangan Valdivia, BA Visual and Public Art.
Kano Bang, BS Business Administration, Management and International Business.
Kamiko Nomura Vaughn, BS Business Administration, Agribusiness.
Nicole C. Vellis, BS Sustainable Hospitality Management.
Danny Froy Zarate, BS Business Administration, Accounting.